Hello everybody, here we are today talking about who I think will make it to the Stanley Cup Final and see exactly how that'll play out. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So I don't think I've ever actually made my Stanley Cup Final picks, and I'm not saying that I'm going to pick a winner in this video, but I do want to talk about who I think will go on and get there. Every year I think a lot of the hockey YouTubers that I watch will go out there and make their picks, and I think this year is going to be especially tough because I think in my eyes, there's probably about 12 to 14 teams that could go out there and legitimately make a run to the Stanley Cup Final and maybe even win it. Now, I don't think that all of those teams are very likely, but I think if somebody said this team would go on to win the Stanley Cup, I'd say, you know what, I could kind of see it happening. Now, some teams like Boston, I'm a little bit more wary on, is again the Jeremy Swayman situation and how that will all play out. But I do think that they will be able to get something done for this season, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, I think some teams are going to be rising and falling, and so I'm excited to talk about who I think could go out there and win it. So when you look at these things, I want to talk about more of the conference play and how I kind of see how things play out. So in the Eastern Conference, I think you could look at a variety of teams: the New Jersey Devils, the New York Rangers, the Carolina Hurricanes, maybe some teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins, Tampa Bay Lightning, and then of course the Florida Panthers, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. That gives you about 7 teams right there where you say maybe they could go on and go to the Stanley Cup Final. So we're going to kind of whittle our way down in the Eastern Conference and then switch over to the Western Conference to give you what I think could be the Stanley Cup Final matchup. So looking at the Atlantic, we'll kick it off there. I think there are a couple teams where I feel like they're not going to go out there and make it. Tampa Bay, a team that, yes, everybody says is their Stanley Cup window still there. In my eyes, it personally isn't. I know they're trying to continue to try to be good, but I would be kind of surprised if they would go on and win the Stanley Cup. And so that's why, in my eyes, they aren't going to be the Eastern Conference champion. As for the Boston Bruins, this is a team that's been good for a while, but again, dealing with the Swayman situation. And just looking at them, they haven't been able to go on a deep run in a minute. They could, but again, why are they going to do it now? Why would it be this year? How is it going to be different? And is that going to actually be to where they can go on to the Stanley Cup Final? Because they could get stuck in the conference final. So I guess there's that. And then for the Toronto Maple Leafs, you look at the fact that they are a team that just hasn't been able to get it done before. Yes, they've got Craig Berube as their head coach, but I've already talked about in their season preview, having a Stanley Cup winning head coach, or even a coach that makes it to the Stanley Cup Final for Toronto, hasn't meant much at all for the Maple Leafs, as they've had 5 coaches in recent memory for their jobs, where they coached for the Leafs, and before that they saw success, and they still couldn't get the job done for Toronto come playoff time. So again, I'm saying that maybe Toronto will have a good year. I've been talking about how I think they should. But again, them making the Stanley Cup Final at this point kind of feels like it's not going to happen. So I'm going to say, just off what we've seen before and looking at their body of work over the past 8 years, it won't be this year. And then in the remaining part of the Atlantic Division, it leaves the Florida Panthers, which I'm conveniently going to leave off to the side for right now. So then in the Central Division, you have the Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers, and the New Jersey Devils. Carolina is a team I'm going to write off. I used to think that it was going to happen, but I don't believe in it anymore. There's always something holding this team back. They had an offseason that wasn't something that you say was an improvement for the side. Yes, again, kind of like Toronto, after so many years where you think they're going to do it, maybe this is a year where people are not really looking at them as a team that's going to go out there and win. They have that potential, and I'm going to buy into it again, I'm sure, come playoff time. But at the moment, I'm just going to say they haven't been able to do the job before. Other teams are able to outperform them come playoff time, and they fall short even when it gets to the Eastern Conference Final. There's been some duds for them, if you will. So I'm going to say kind of write them off. They're not going to go out there and make it to the Stanley Cup Final. It's going to be Toronto or Carolina, of course, looking back at this at the Stanley Cup Final for 2025. Anyway, that leaves the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Rangers are a team that's relatively old. They are pretty cohesive, and they've been on deep runs before. I'm going to say they don't make it. They did make a lot of changes. I feel like this team isn't going to be able to get the job done. Again, they have some of those results to say maybe they could do it, but I feel like they're too top heavy. So write them off. Out east, it leaves just 2 teams, the Florida Panthers and the New Jersey Devils. And if you've been following me during the course of the offseason, you know I've been talking about how I think these 2 teams are going to have good years, but I think that it's going to be the Devils that go on to the Stanley Cup Final. Maybe. And the reasoning here is Florida has had many deep runs over the past few years. They're banged up, they're injured, they're tired, and they are a team that doesn't look as good as they had before. They still look pretty good, but looking at even like Sergei Bobrovsky, an older goalie that's got a lot of wear and tear on him, I think that you cannot just keep expecting them to go on these runs. And if they do, all credit to them. But they've just had a lot that they've had to go through. They've played a lot of playoff hockey over the years. maybe they run out of steam now, and the New Jersey Devils, for the first time since 2012, go into the Stanley Cup Final after missing the playoffs the season before. Very exciting stuff. That is your Eastern Conference champion in my eyes. You have the Western Conference, and we're going to be talking about the Central Division here. You have 4 teams where you say maybe, just maybe, they could work their way into the Stanley Cup Final. The Dallas Stars, the Colorado Avalanche, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Nashville Predators. And like I talked about in my video yesterday with division winners, Nashville could be good. I think they're going to be pretty dangerous. Again, I have guys that have won the Rocket. You've got guys that have won the Norris. You've got Saros that could contend for the Vezina. They might be a team that's kind of a threat, but I don't think it's all going to click in year one. That would be kind of crazy to see. Write them off, but again, I think that their expectations are kind of up in the air, where people are saying, are they going to be dangerous, or are we just kind of overhyping them a little bit? I want them to be dangerous though, but I don't think they're going to get there just yet. That leaves 3 teams. Winnipeg Jets, write them off. Get that marker, just write them off there. They are a side that, again, come playoff time, they don't meet the expectations. They probably rely a little bit too much on Connor Hellebuck, and in this situation, again, why is this year going to be any different? We've seen this before from other teams. I don't expect them to go on a run to the Stanley Cup Final when they had better rosters before. They could be good yet again, but I don't expect them to go on to the Stanley Cup Final. So then that leaves Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, 2 teams that should be good, like we already talked about. Colorado, though, just dealing with a lot of drama for the start of this year. And I truly do think they're going to be a team that is very top-heavy, again, relying on those guys to try to get the job done. Not a problem, as they've shown they can go out there and do it, but I just don't see them being able to go on deep enough of a run. If McKinnon got hurt, if McCarr got hurt, if Taves got hurt, if any of those guys went down with a serious injury come playoff time, are they going to be able to beat some of those other teams? My opinion is no. That's why I don't see them making it to the Stanley Cup Final this year. So then it leaves the Dallas Stars. We're going to push them off to the side for just a moment. So guess what? Now we've got the Pacific Division. I'm going to say Vegas Golden Knights, Vancouver Canucks, and the Edmonton Oilers. Like we talked about in the division video yesterday, Vancouver, I don't think it's happening. I want it to happen, but I don't think so. I'm not even giving my hopes up. I'm not even going to explain this. Vancouver not making it to the Stanley Cup Final. If they are, I'm buying the merchandise. I'm going to be thrilled, but they aren't going to make it, which leaves Vegas, a team that's been able to get there 2 times before, and they won it back in 2023, feeling really invigorated, feeling motivated, and trying to get the job done. I think, again, just too many what-ifs for this side, where I don't actually think anybody would go out there and do it. Is Mark Stone going to be healthy? Who knows? Is the blue line going to be able to be good enough? Are guys like Hannafin or guys like Hurdle going to be able to provide more for this side? We will see. So again, they might go on a run, but I don't think they get there. So then that leaves the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, and these 2 teams met before in the Western Conference Final last year, with Edmonton being the best of those 2. And this is where things get interesting, because I personally think Edmonton doesn't go out there and do it again. Dallas is a team that I've bought into so much here recently, and I think for Edmonton, yes, they've had multiple good years in a row, but I don't expect another big run again. Maybe they go on the conference final, but I think Dallas gets the revenge if they meet each other again in the Stanley Cup Final, Eastern Conference Final. And so I think for that reason, maybe we get a rematch and Dallas is able to get the better of them here. Dallas looks really good, which sets up a Dallas and New Jersey Stanley Cup Final. I think I predicted that at the start of last season, and that was in some obscure video where I didn't even make a video about it. That would be a rematch of a Stanley Cup Final we saw before. As for who wins it, I'm not going to say just yet because I don't know, but that is my pick for the Stanley Cup finalists, as you have New Jersey and Dallas, 2 teams that would be thrilled to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. New Jersey hasn't made it since 2012. Dallas hasn't made it since 2020. Neither team has been able to win it since a very long time. What was it? New Jersey 2003, Dallas 1999. Either team that would win a championship would be thrilled. So anyway, who are your picks for the Stanley Cup finalists, and who do you think will go on and win the Stanley Cup? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And Eagle of hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.